climbing Mount Fuji is one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life.
Theo dropped every single stuff on the edge of the mountain. Yes.
Two of us, we're hungry, we're cold, we're wet, even though we have raincoats, it's not helping.
Every single step I step down, I feel like my pee is gonna break out.
Hi guys, I'm Theo.
And I'm Gia.
And this is
Passion Project Japan.
And did you know that the most expensive grape in the world is the Ruby Roman, which goes for about 10,000 USDs for about 1 kilogram of grapes. Yeah, and the Ruby Roman can only be found in Japan. Yes, it's a specialty fruit. Yeah. And you know what else can only be found in Japan?
Passion Project Japan?
Yes, and also Mount Fuji.
Oh.
And today we are going to be talking about Mount Fuji and how we climbed and conquered the mountain. And when did we climb Mount Fuji?
We actually climbed Mount Fuji 2 years ago in September 2022. And I think it was a very interesting experience because a lot of bad things happened during our climb. So we just want to share with the audience how the experience was like.
Yeah, the struggle story.
Yeah.
So I've been to military, and there are some tough things in military, but I have to say that climbing Mount Fuji is one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. One of the most physically challenging, mentally challenging, because we did a couple of interesting choices, I would say. Maybe not poor decisions, but interesting choices. Yeah. And so we climbed in September 2022. And why did we even want to climb Mount Fuji?
So we didn't do a lot of research. I still remember that there was one senpai in our university who said that he's going to graduate soon and he might not come back to Japan anytime in near future. So he invited us to climb Mount Fuji with him. But in the end, he was the one who ditched us.
Yeah.
So we climbed by ourselves.
Yeah, and
that's the reason why we didn't do a lot of preparation for the trip, I guess.
Yeah, so we didn't do any prior mountain training, like climbing, hiking, doing small hikes, walking with loads. Yeah, we are generally fit. We go to the gym, we work out. So in both our minds, we were like, I think this is okay. This is it's possible. Yeah.
And it was possible, but it's just that we were so confident in our fitness level that that one was not paid so well.
Yeah. So this is a story of what not to do. If
when
you don't
you
want to
climb
struggle,
Mount Fuji.
Yeah, if you don't want to struggle up the mountain like we did.
Yeah.
So back in September 2022, this was prior to the COVID era. This was during the COVID era, and there were not a lot of people or tourists entering the country yet. There was what's it called? Like tourist ban. Like people weren't allowed to come in the country yet. So Mount Fuji was generally not so crowded. It was mostly domestic tourists. Yeah.
Yes. And because we didn't really do a lot of research, I remember that we chose one of the most popular trail to climb. So there are several trails to climb in Mount Fuji, right? But we took a bus from the base to the fifth station, and then we climbed through a trail called Yoshida, which is one of the easiest one, I guess.
Like the easiest.
The
one.
easiest.
Yeah. The most straightforward, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the most stations. Yeah.
And typically it would take around 5 to 7 hours to go up. So we thought that, that would not take much time. So we decided to go with that one. And one of the most daring decisions that we made was that we're gonna do a bullet climbing, which is going there overnight so that we can catch the sunrise the next morning.
Yeah. Generally, when we did some research, they said not to do a bullet climb. They advised that if you want to catch the sunrise at Mount Fuji, you climb in the night and you stay at a hut for like a little bit. But it's kind of expensive, and we're like, you know what? We're like young, we're fit, It's like how challenging can it be, right? So we decided to not follow that piece of advice. We were like, let's just do it overnight, one shot, go up, see the sunrise, and then climb down.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't regret that decision.
Yeah.
However, it wasn't the best experience I could get or anyone could get climbing Mount Fuji, because you remember the peak season to climb Mount Fuji is actually around this time, July. September, but we ended up climbing. July, August. But we ended up climbing at the very end of the season, September.
The last day. I remember it
The
was the
last
last
day.
day of the regular climbing season.
So
Yeah.
the weather was very unpredictable. Most of the time when we were climbing, it was raining so hard. And yeah, it was so cold, so wet. But yeah, we will go more in details later chronologically so that you can imagine how bad it was.
Hey guys, if you like the content that you're seeing so far, please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube at Passion Project Japan. We love to make more content for you guys, and seeing our subscriber count go up is a good way to let us know that we're on the right track to making the best content we can. So remember to subscribe. Yeah, so we reached the fifth station, Fuji Yoshida fifth station, at about 5 p.m. And we got something to eat. It was still daytime. Yeah, and we bought like walking sticks at the station. Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, since you mentioned the walking sticks, we also have a list of things that we wanted to buy or prepare beforehand because we expect that there's nothing in the mountain, right? That's the least thing we should expect. So we bought some snacks, of course, protein bars, calorie mate, onigiri, water, work gloves. That's very important when you climb.
The gloves are very important.
Heat tech, shirts, fleece, down jackets. We also have like the headlights.
Very important if you're climbing at night.
Yes. And we also prepared something called an emergency blanket.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted to save a lot of money. That's why we went to Daiso, and that cost only 100 yen. And that was the worst quality emergency blanket
like
ever.
Aluminum sheet, right? Like this kind of like sparkly looking aluminum sheet thing that is supposed to keep you warm. Supposed to, right?
And
During
I thought that oh, maybe it will work because it's aluminum. If you just cover yourself with like aluminum, then you'll be like automatically warm, whatever. But it was not what I expected. It was really, really bad. I will tell you later. But anyways, let's go back to the fifth station.
Yep.
We had some dinner, and then we started climbing around 7:30 because we expected to come to the top by the sunrise time, right? Around 5 a.m.
Yeah. So it was dark when we started the climb.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the weather was fine. The weather was really fine.
It was good.
It was cooling. But an hour later it started pouring quite bad.
Yeah. But
Yes.
but before it started pouring, it was drizzling like a little bit. And so then we took the raincoat out of our bag, put it on, continued walking, and then suddenly the rain stopped. And the raincoats are very humid, right?
Yes.
So then we took it out, all sweaty, and then we put it back in our bag, and then we climbed again. And then
Climb
drizzle again, and then we put it on. So this happened for a few times within that hour.
Yeah, so
I
it keeps
remember.
on and off, on and off. And that's already created some kind of like, uneasiness when we climb, right? But the first peak that we experienced was when Theo wanted to do some vlogs on the trail, and then he dropped his camera stuff.
Okay, so how that works is that when you're climbing Mount Fuji, there are different stations along the way, and at those stations, there's usually like a hut or something that you can rest in, but you have to pay to rest in those huts. And so if you don't want to do that, there are small ledges on the outside.
Like a bench.
Yeah, like a bench kind of thing, but it's really, really like narrow.
Yeah, it's very
small.
tiny because you want to
Yeah.
save space, right? I mean, the way to go up is also very small, like very narrow. So the bench itself is just for you to sit down, have some rest, and not for you to, set up your cameras and some
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And in the end, Theo dropped every single stuff on the what is it called, like at the edge of the mountain. They had-
So the bench is like here, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like kind of like on the face of the mountain, kind of. And so I set my camera back on the bench, so that we could rest, take out our stuff
Yeah.
to change. And then I saw it kind of like slip through the crack, like a crack between the bench, and like fall on the cliffside of the mountain, right? But thankfully there were like bushes, so it didn't roll down the
all the
mountain.
way.
Yeah, it didn't roll down all the way, but it got caught in the bushes below.
And you could actually go down there to pick up his stuff.
Yeah.
But there was one thing that he couldn't find at all, which was his mic. And he spent so much time to just find that tiny mic, which is expensive, important for his vlog thing. And we were so stressed because it was still pouring so hard, and we lost some of like very valuable stuff during the trip. So I remember we were about to give up.
Yeah. It was painful. We spent about an hour each there just trying to find that mic, with our headlamps. It's dark. People looking at us like, why are these crazy people just on the side of the mountain looking at the bushes?
Exactly. and then like we expected to climb up to see the sunrise, right? And we're already late for an hour. So like I was like, oh, maybe we couldn't catch the sunrise on time. So we decided to give up. But at that very, very ending point, I saw the mic in a bush. And I'm like,
Yokatta. So
Yokatta,
she saved my
finally.
mic, and so managed to
well, I
retrieve
didn't
it.
save his mic, but I found it somehow.
Did you know that? I don't know if I told you this actually, but my bag for the rest of the hike smelled like pee.
Your back?
Yeah, so toilets are hard to find in Mount Fuji, right?
Yeah.
So my theory is that people just like, they see a bush and then it's like kind of at the mountain cliffside. I think some people pissed on the bushes. Because when I wore the bag,
they do so though.
I think they do, because when I wore the bag, it smelled like pee.
Oh really?
Yeah. And then I was like, bro,
Oh,
this sucks. But I didn't tell you because she has very sensitive nose. So
Oh,
I feel
yeah?
like if I said that, then like she would. I totally forgot about it until you were talking about it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so don't drop your stuff. If not, it will smell like pee, and it's difficult to find in night. Yeah. So that was the first struggle.
Since we mentioned that, I also I maybe this is a very bad advice.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should drink a lot of water when climbing Mount Fuji. First, there are not a lot of toilets on the way up, and there are no toilets on the way down. So please don't drink a lot of water. And every single time that you go to the toilet, you have to pay.
Yes.
Which is understandable because a lot of work is put into that to have the maintenance, to have people going there almost every day to clean the toilet, organize the system.
Yeah.
So I understand that we have to pay, but again, you probably don't want to use that often. It costs a lot of money, and also it's not really convenient.
Yeah. So
So don't drink a lot of water, but maybe that's a bad advice.
Drink water, but when there's a toilet, go to the toilet. Like even if you don't feel like peeing now, you force yourself to pee because like
Yes.
you never know when the next toilet is gonna come,
Yes.
unless you plan the route very well. So
Yeah. And then that was around 10 p.m. when you dropped
yes,
the thing.
so I dropped the camera about 10 p.m.
And
it
then-
was like raining, but raining lightly, like not so heavy yet.
Yes. And so we climbed for another 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's when we started feeling sleepy. We rested for about 30 minutes, but I was really, really tired because it started raining heavier.
Yeah.
And then we almost kind of reached like the 6th or 7th station. 7th maybe?
Can't remember, but it was like near. It wasn't at the midpoint yet, but nearer to the midpoint. We've been climbing for about
Like for quite long.
4 or 5 hours. Yeah.
So I said maybe let's rest. And I thought that there, if there's no hub for us, right, because we didn't like reserve it, there would be at least a shelter for everyone. But there wasn't any shelter. The only thing that they provided was just that bench that Theo mentioned before. And so we struggled so hard to just find a place to like rest for 1 or 2 hours. And I remember that's when we pull out the aluminium foil that we prepared.
You got to paint the scene, man. This is one of the most depressing kind of scenes ever. So imagine the rain by this point is torrential. It's pouring. It's going down hard. It's like midnight, 1 a.m., something like that, right?
Yes.
2 of us, we're hungry, we're cold, we're wet. Even though we have raincoats, it's not helping much.
It's not helping. The gloves were wet. Our shoes were wet.
It was like, and because we're at the midpoint, you
Yes.
can't go down. The only way is like up.
It's going up.
And so I remember there was another kind of like bench thing, and then there were a bunch of like people there as well. They were all seating there, and 2 of them left, so we faster like went to sit down there, and we both like sat down,
Like squeezing like this.
and it was wet,
Yes.
and we were like, okay, let's take out the blanket.
Yeah.
So then we took out this like aluminum foil of a blanket, and then we just like kind of put it across ourselves, and we just sat there in the rain,
Yes.
like with that blanket that was not helping at all.
Oh my gosh! And you know why? Because it was windy as well. So like no matter how much we covered ourselves, the aluminium foil kept flying. Like oh my gosh!
Aluminum foil, the emergency blanket was like if you're gonna get one emergency blanket for this, do
Get a
not buy
proper
it.
one.
Do not buy it from Daiso. Like seriously, it literally made no difference.
Yes.
So funny.
And it even made our life more miserable. You know why? Because like it collects all the rain and then it even wets our shoes even more. So that was one of the worst decision or like the worst thing that I buy on the trip, I would say. Do we even have an umbrella? No,
We
right?
can't bring umbrellas, no.
Yeah, we cannot bring
I don't think
umbrellas.
can
So
bring
it was
umbrellas.
keep pouring down like this and everything was really wet.
Yeah.
I wanted to cry, but at the same time, I was like, oh, actually, this is not a bad experience at all, but it was just so like, like,
I just remember sitting down in the rain and just feeling like lifeless. Like,
yeah.
why are we doing this? And literally, I think it was like the moment where it was really like, why?
Yeah, like exactly why we're doing this. We're just climbing up a mountain.
Yeah,
Like
why did we put ourselves through this?
Yes, like we just climb. We did nothing else besides climbing. That's literally the thing that I was thinking at that time. Like, yeah,
It was crazy, yeah.
but
It was so we rested there for about like 40 minutes. I remember just kind of stoning in the rain with that blanket that was like more of a hassle than warmth. And then we were like, we gotta go. We gotta keep
yeah,
climbing.
we gotta
Like,
escape.
once the
this.
rain like lightens up a little bit, because it's dangerous to climb up the rocks if it's raining really hard.
slippery, yeah.
Yeah. So once the rain lightened up a bit, we were like, we just have to keep going.
Yes. And you know, it was really cold, right? Because we already passed the midpoint.
Yeah.
And that plus the rain creates like, you know, a very uneasy feeling for the hands because we were both wearing gloves and the wetness, the coldness creates like numb.
Yeah, because it's
In
like
our
it's
hands.
wet and then there's cold wind and then it's like you start to not feel your
your
hands,
fingers
basically, yeah.
anymore. But
it's like that numbing
you cannot
sensation.
take the gloves out because if you took it out, it's very hard to climb with rocks. So it was very hard for us. I was like, oh, when is the next station? Because we can only get some stuff on the next station. But
I didn't even know that we could buy stuff actually.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we didn't even know that we could.
Could get some stuff
Yeah.
on top, right? So finally, in the end, we reached a station, a small station.
Dude, I remember that feeling.
Yeah.
So it's like we were climbing up. So the station is above, and then we climbed some rocks. And by this point, I was actually genuinely scared that my hand was gonna get hypothermia because like I just remember it's freezing cold. Like you can really really like start to like not feel your hands.
Yeah.
And then I remember it's like the rock here, and then imagine like we climb, and then we see the rock, and then we suddenly see this light, right?
Yes.
This warm light in the distance,
Yeah.
and it's like a hut. And then we were like, oh, they sell stuff. At first, I wanted to buy like food,
Yeah.
like some kind of snacks. And then we went there, and
but then the first sign I saw, I remember it was the gloves, man. It was,
Bokoro.
and yeah,
Bro.
like they sell gloves there. I'm like, they do sell things here.
Bro, it was one of the most joyous like experience because I remember
Yes.
that it was so our gloves are like the proper like climbing gloves kind of thing, but the gloves they sell is just this like white, like Southeast Asians will know what I'm talking about. But if you ever see like durian sellers, those who cut the durian, right? They have this like white glove thing.
Yeah.
It was just that woolen work white glove, and they were selling that for like
Yes.
ridiculous amount. I don't even remember 700 yen or something like that.
Yeah.
So expensive, but I was like
But that was the only choice for us at that
so
point.
happy.
And
So
then
happy.
and then we were so happy to get change.
Yeah.
And then there are some food as well.
No, that's not the
No?
station with food. That's not the station
Oh,
with food.
is it not?
It's not.
It's not?
So then we climb a little bit more.
Oh,
right?
okay.
We climb a little bit more, and I remember it is the station
Mm.
that is right before the final ascent.
Oh, okay.
So it's the last station before the final ascent. So we reached that spot, and the spot is pretty big, right?
Mm,
By
yeah.
this time it's what 3-4 a.m.
Probably, yeah.
So there's a bunch of people there as well.
Yeah, they were resting as well. And Theo, what did you buy there?
So I was really hungry, because we've been surviving on calorie mate, but calorie mate can only stuff you enough. And so I saw these Nepali climbers. They were eating cup ramen, specifically the Nissin seafood ramen. I remember I saw them. And I was like, bro, what? That looks insane. Like, honestly, it looks so good right now. Like, I'm just gonna buy it. So I queue up, I go, and then I ask, can I have like 1 cup ramen? And the lady looks to the back and she sees there's only 1 more left. So she was like, oh, good job, you got the last one. And I was like, bro,
Oh
this
my
is a
gosh, you are
sign.
lucky.
This is a sign. Right?
Did I not get anything?
You didn't get anything, no?
I didn't
You
get
didn't want a cup
anything.
ramen, yeah.
I didn't want a cup ramen. You know, I was very conscious about my diet. Even on the mountain.
Survivor
you see.
situation, bro.
Even in a survivor situation. And I would rather just eat the food that I prepare, which is calorie made, protein bars, rather than the cup ramen that he's offered me. And there's only 1 left. So I feel like maybe it's just for him.
Dude, the cup ramen was like 1,000 yen.
Yeah.
I really remember. It was one of the most ridiculously overpriced cup ramen. But I have to say, it was the best cup ramen I've ever eaten in my life. Like, that feeling of being in that freezing cold, suffering for like the past like 5 to 7 hours of climbing. Then feeling that warm cup.
Yeah.
Slurping those noodles, drinking that broth. Bro,
To be honest, that gave you the energy to climb to the very top.
yeah, it's a morale boosting.
Yeah. And we managed to get there on time. Just a little bit past the sun rising.
Yeah. So I remember it's like we start climbing and then like you can see the sun start peeking out over the clouds. And they'll be like, okay, we gotta go like faster and faster and faster.
Happiness.
Yeah.
Happiness.
Then I think the official when the sun like fully kind of came out, we were like really, really close to the top. But not actually at the top yet. So we decided to sit on a rock.
And watch the sunrise.
To watch the sunrise. And like take some photos and stuff.
Mm.
And then we were like, okay, let's finish this. Right?
Oh yeah, now that I think about it, that was actually better when you're at that point, because you can still see the sun and you see like the whole mountain view, right?
Yeah.
But once you reach the top, maybe the light will be too much to see the whole view. And I remember that by the time we reached the summit, we were too tired to open our eyes. So in the end, we didn't watch the sun even. We were just like lying down as if we're in the beach.
We weren't even lying down. I remember so firstly, the sunrise, I have to say, very, very, very beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Very beautiful. Like to see that sun peek out among the clouds, that kind of blue orange hue. It was really spectacular. Was it worth it? I don't know if it was worth it, but it was very, very beautiful. And then that image like came out a little bit, so the sun already peaked out. And then we climbed and we finally reached the top. We finally reached the peak. And then if you've ever seen the peak of Mount Fuji, actually it's quite an open area.
Yeah.
So there was like a rock for us to sit on, and so we sat on the rock. We look at the sunrise, and then both of us just tow. And by tow, I mean we both just pass out. Like we just like
Yeah, like this.
literally look facing the sun. We both just died. It was like we were so tired. We were like, we made it. It was like we literally couldn't keep our eyes open. Like
Oh my
I
gosh.
wanted to watch the sun, like fully watch the sunrise, right?
Yes.
We just couldn't.
But we couldn't
We couldn't. We reached the top and we just slept. Like we just like
slept.
passed out for like 30 minutes or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And then I remember we said like, so what do we do now? There's nothing else to do on the top of the mountain. So either we just stay there and see the view for another maybe an hour, or we go down. But I was too tired.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, there's nothing here for me to do anymore.
Her morale was low. I remember her.
Yeah.
Her morale was low.
I didn't even have cup noodles. Come on.
I mean, I shared with you.
You shared with me. I know that it was my decision not to eat it, but still, like I was so low on energy. I just want to climb down so bad. So after maybe half an hour to an hour of
I think
resting,
we were sleeping for like at least like 30 minutes, because I remember like when we reached the top, the sun was still kind of like low. When we woke up, the sun was like pretty, like it was like proper day. Like the sun was like out and shining down on us. I was like,
Yes.
oh, what? Yeah.
yes, And then we started climbing down. And this is another critical moment for you.
Yes.
Don't drink water, or even if you go and you feel like you don't want to go to the toilet, just go for it. Because I didn't know that there was no toilet on the way down, I was careless. By the 8 or 9 station, I didn't go to the toilet at all. I didn't even drink water. I wanted to save money. So, but once we climbed down, I started feeling pee. I wanted to pee. The pee sensation.
So in a story, right? When you've reached like the top, that's when like the story ends, right? If you play a game, once you fight the final boss, then that's where the story ends. Or you climb Mordor, and then some eagles fly you back to the Shire, right? If only that works the same way for Mount Fuji.
Yes.
No, climbing down, honestly, is also an insane experience.
An insane experience.
Yeah.
So there's toilet in every station on the way up, but on the way down, you can only find a toilet on the 7th one, and I already feel
6 or 7, yeah.
7,
yeah, okay.
And already feel the pee sensation from the 9th station, and I'm like, Theo, like seriously, I couldn't keep it anymore. How could I survive from 9 to 7 when I wanted to pee so bad?
There's several hours of climbing.
Yeah, there's several hours of climbing, and I keep my pee. I climb down like an old lady, and there are so many times I was crying. I was telling Theo like, "Hey, should I just pee here? Like, would they punish me? Or do I have to pay a fine? I just want to pee here, like right now, right here. I don't care how people would see me." But yeah, like it was very, very bad. And it was a volcano as well, right? You know, so the way down was not rock. The way down was, I don't know, volcano dirt. So it was not.
You have to be careful. Like you can actually slip and like fall.
You can slip and fall. So you see, your water bladder is about to break. And then there's like pressure every single step you go down because the way was not rough.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like every single step I step down, I feel like my pee is going to break out.
Yeah, I remember you were crying. I remember like
I was crying.
As we came down, like she was just like every step she took, she was like crying. And she asked me whether like she should just go and pee. But like it's in the day, right? Like and there are like a bunch of people also climbing down. And like I know Mount Fuji is sort of like sacred spot.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you could actually pee, and I thought it's better to not pee. So I was like, maybe not. I just keep like encouraging her to like, come on, just a little bit more. We're almost there.
Yes.
It's like cope.
Yes. I even considered clearing a pet bottle and somehow put a pet bottle into my
oh man.
Yeah. To be there, but okay, in the end he encouraged me to go down to the 7th station, but that 3 hours of my life was one of the worst. I've never experienced such like pain. I'd never feel like peeing is such a happiness in my life ever. But yes, and I remember, oh my gosh, the first thing I did was to find a toilet in the 7th station. He was going to buy some udon. Oh my gosh.
I remember that. I was like
wow.
when we finally could see, because when you're climbing down, so the path climbing down is different from path going up. It's like zigzags down the mountain, right? So the mountain, like, it's like there's mist, so you can't really see like all the way down, right? So we reached a point where we could actually see the station. I remember you just like put down your bag. You gave me your bag, and you just literally run to the station because you know that's where the toilet is gonna be.
Yes,
that was crazy. Yeah, and then there was some udon, so that we have a little bit of snack. Yeah, and then she peed, I peed, rested for a bit at that station, and then we climbed down again. And I tell you, I think that climbing down Mount Fuji is what hell is like. You know why? Because it's never ending like pain. Okay, you're literally climbing down. You don't see the end. You just see a zigzag path. You see the zigzags all the way until it disappears into the mist. Okay, so you never know how much longer you have to go down. You can never see the ending. So you're just going zigzag down a path, And then we met some hikers and they told us like to ease the pain on your feet.
You
You,
had-
you have to walk like kind of snaked down the path. Right?
Yes.
So you're walking in this snake path down a zigzag path, down. And every time you reach the bottom of where you were just now, you can look again and it's just mist.
Another mist.
And so you just keep going and this never-ending cycle of rock, mist, zigzag paths, and pain. Like your feet really hurt because you're trying to control yourself from falling because you're going downhill, right?
Yes.
Bro, like I think this is closest to what like hell or purgatory. It's like seriously, it was bad.
At least when you climb up there, I mean, it's still a zigzag thing, but you can still see that there are different shape, different, how to say,
There's different like features.
features
Yeah.
of natures.
Yeah, different feature of natures. But when coming down, it's like
Yes.
purely just sand and zigzags.
Just send zigzag. There's no scene at all, I told you. So yeah, next time if you ever wanted to go climbing in Japan, choose another mountain.
I mean, Mount Fuji is also pretty fun, but you just gotta be prepared that it's not gonna be an easy climb. Worth doing, I think, once in your life.
But
maybe.
if you're experienced enough, then climbing there might be fun because there was one guy we met on the way.
Oh yeah,
He was literally running down the
the
mountain.
experienced mountain climbers, yeah, they literally run down the mountain.
Yes.
With all the bags, which is it was crazy to see them
Yeah.
run down the mountain. Yeah, but we
Yeah.
reached I remember we reached the bottom, and so once we reached the kind of like the base of the mountain, it's not like so simple because you have to hike like across because where you end up is not the
Where you start
yeah
climbing.
not where you start. So you still have to walk through this like kind of foresty kind of area, right? And I remember that was a nice hike, but also very humid, very hot. It's like in the day.
Yes.
So you went from somewhere cold to just like sweating like crazy. So that temperature drop, the temperature change is insane.
Yeah. So if you ever watch or read anything online that says climbing Mount Fuji just takes 5 to 7 hours up and 3 to 5 hours down, that's not true, because up and down is just like from the base up and the base down. But in order to like go to the exit, you need at least another 2 hours. Okay, so it will take the whole day.
I remember feeling so scammy because like they would say like, oh, it's just 700 meters to the base. And I'm like, 700 meters? Like, bro, I ran like 400 meters in like what 1 minute 45 seconds. Like how hard can 700 meters be? Bro, 700 meters is so... I was like, bro, this is a scam. Like, I remember being angry. I was like, these signs are scamming us because this is definitely not 700 meters. This is like at least like 4 km or something because we walked like 1 hour.
How do they call it? They call it the bird.
The bird?
The bird. the way the bird flies in like a straight line.
The displacement?
Yes, there's a displacement, but here is a zigzag. So 700 is not 700, but it's
True
just
distance and the displacement.
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our
Would you recommend people climb Mount Fuji?
once in your life. Yes.
Yeah.
But again, we said that in the very beginning, right? If I were given the second chance, probably I would choose another mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not an experienced climber. I climb for leisure. So I prefer something that is enjoyable. I mean, something torturing like this was fun as well, to be honest.
Type 2 fun.
Yes, type 2 fun. But I also prefer having a scenery when climbing. Maybe that would ease the pain, you know. I do consider climbing Mount Kinabalu.
Kinabalu?
I'm so sorry I don't remember the name, but I think that mountain is really beautiful.
Yeah.
And the height is relatively similar to Mount Fuji, but I heard that the scene is really, really nice.
I think, climbing Mount Fuji, I would recommend, especially if you live in Japan right now, just because kind of when you go back to your home country ever and they ask you, so what do you do in Japan? You can at least say that, oh, I climb Mount Fuji, you know? Whether it's difficult though, I'm not gonna lie. I remember we had some friends last year that didn't manage to finish the climb. Yeah. But just to challenge yourself and actually do this climb, I think it's quite worthwhile. Plus that feeling of showering after the whole climb is one of the best showers I've ever had in my life. that sleeping, that nap after. Ooh, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy good.
Mm.
Yeah. So that was our experience climbing Mount Fuji. Yeah, we would love to hear your experiences if you have any. Please drop them in the comments on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Yeah, and if you want to see more of our faces, you can follow us on Instagram.
At Passion Project JP.
Yes, correct. And we hope to see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.